And lo, in the beginning there were links, and Google said links will be important, and they were. And this would be about the year 2000. And here we're going to have a brief history of what's happened in the last 15 years, and the way the perception of what a link even is has changed, and how you need to be a little bit careful about definitions and a bit of obfuscation going on these days. Anyway, Scritty here, demon.com. Let's crack on. So back in about 2000, 2001, when it became obvious and apparent that links were perhaps the most important part in ranking your website for the keywords you wanted to rank for, there was no such thing as blogging, really. Actually, a couple of people say they had blogs prior to 2000, but I'm not so sure. They weren't, certainly not blogging the way we know it now. The Web 2.0 was hadn't exploded. Again, it's something else. Sort of the O'Reilly Institute sort of say that it was about, but it certainly wasn't mainstream. Wasn't something anybody I know did, and I certainly can't find any evidence of any blogs around then. Web 2.0 sites, social media wasn't even a phrase back then. I think that was a phrase invented a few years later. So to get a link was actually really quite hard, because people had built static websites, and it was static websites that were ranked. People didn't build websites to be added to have a blog role, to update frequently, once a day, week, month, or whatever. Like that didn't happen. So the idea of actually getting a link for another website was, well, I'm going to have to redesign my website to put that link in now. I'm probably going to have to ring my coder up if I'm a business, because I didn't do it myself, and then pay him quite a lot of money to alter a page on my website to put a link in. And so it didn't happen. News sites and news feed sites, those reporting on big events, news, sports, stuff like that, yeah, they sort of precursored the idea of regular updates and stuff like that. But your regular business sites didn't have any of this sort of stuff going on. It wasn't a thing. It didn't occur. And then we had Web 2.0, and we had the growth of forums and blogs and things like that, which came alongside it. Now, forums existed before that, we all know, but they had a sort of a different vibe. The idea of hosting your own forum before the early 2000s wasn't really a thing, but suddenly forums was something you hosted yourself, and forum platforms and blog platforms, the whole Web 2.0, content creation, content sharing, and most importantly, audience interaction, audience participation on a website. The idea that you could go to somebody else's website, add your own content to it, converse with them, drop a link or whatever, that was all stuff that could occur. Really interesting, which opened the opportunities of creating your own links, of course. And this is where the SEO community, aspects of it realised they could game the system. They could do a bit of sock puppeting and stuff like that and create links and whatnot. A few years later, sort of the boom really beginning in the mid to late 2000s, perhaps 2007, it really took off. We had social media. But you still had the old style webmaster links where you might email a webmaster asking for a link. You still have Web 2.0 links, though they weren't as new anymore. Then you had this stuff, social proof, or social evidence, or social links. And at this point, people start to say, we're not going to call these links. Well, the way that the attribution occurs, the way that if a like, a share, a retweet, even a poke if you're on MySpace, or all the rest, the way they're attributed to your website is via following a link which tells the search engines or whatever else is looking that it's your website. Now, this is muddied a little bit because the pages on nearly all social media sites are created on the fly. They're created just for you, and they're once-only creations, and it's really difficult for Google to read them. However, they do pick up the metrics, and the overall metrics are presented by the likes of Twitter and Facebook for Google to pick up en masse by agreements and by application calls and stuff like that. But again, what they pick up are link numbers. So if you create a link to your website and that link is shared or liked, and so then it appears on the other person's timeline because it's liked, or it appears on many other people's timelines because it's shared to somebody who then has other people like their share, then what they're picking up on is the link. Don't be fooled into thinking it's anything else, some sort of magic fairy dust. It's the link. Just the same as Web 2.0, just the same as the old traditional web style links. It's links they're picking up on. Then we got even cuter. They said, you know those Web 2.0 sites? Well, some of them are really grown up now, and they're not really Web 2.0 sites anymore. They're like sort of Trivago and stuff like that, and restaurant critic sites, and holiday review sites, and new car buying sites, and which energy provider should we have sites. Do you know what? We're going to call these review sites. In fact, we're not going to call what you get from those links anymore. But you know what? Again, they are links. And then you have this idea when search engine metrics guys and Search Engine Watch, which I've linked to in the article, this is on diminished.com, the really good article otherwise, start to say, you know, we're going to call these reviews, we're going to call this social proof, we're going to call these blah blah, and what we're going to say is that links, we're only going to call these purely these links now, and they're really not very valuable. But that's because you've got slightly nuance, or you've got tried to filter down or drill down into what links are, and you've subdivided links into different categories. But they are still all links. And depending on which source you look at, those things that are still links still represent over 50% of the value of your website. If you add this up and stop doing this silly splitting links up into different subcategories, just lump them all back together as they always were when we used to count them as one big block, they are still the majority. They're not as big a majority as they were 5 or 6 years ago, for sure. You have to be far more nuanced if you want a site to last a long time. You're not into churn and burn, which still works, by the way, but I'm not talking about churn and burn, as I'm talking about people with an expectation of a site lasting 5, 10, 20 years, whatever. Then you may want to have different platforms, encourage natural link building, certainly mix up your anchor text, surround your links with content, power your links up as well, not make easily identifiable link structures like rings or even pyramids much to these days, because Google plays follow the link and works out who the end beneficiary is in the end. So you may want to do, with all those little caveats, you still want to do link building, but you just have to do it in a lot more nuanced and a lot more sophisticated fashion. But to lose sight of what you're doing is still creating links is actually messing yourself up. It's overcomplicating life for yourself a little bit. It's making the whole picture seem a little muddier. Yeah. So when you're doing link building, say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to have some of these reviews. I'm going to have some of these old style links. I'm going to have some Web 2 links. I'm going to have some social proof links. I'm going to have some forum links, blogger links, all the rest of the different sorts you can have. I'm going to get some authority links. I'm going to get some reciprocal links, everything. But don't lose sight of the fact they are all links. Search engines still work out which side benefit from the metrics by following the links. They have decent weighting. They often need to be replaced when they're social media links, as they archive and degrade very quickly in a similar sort of way to bookmark links, the way they used to degrade. They drop off of the front page and they get archived. Even links on blog posts do the same. Most blogs, you're on the front page, and the webmaster only allows 5 posts on the front page, and as he adds more posts to it, your post with your link in it drops off front page and stops being on the root domain and becomes on an archive page, and eventually drops further and further and further down till it's gone, until it's probably archived. But at the end of the day, these are links, pure and simple. Really is that easy, really. Don't lose sight of the fact that these are all links, and don't be fooled into thinking that links are losing their value greatly, because when you add them all up, they are still the most important element in your SEO, in ranking your site for specific keywords in the search engines. Anyway, hopefully this is the last time, by the way, I'll be using this recording equipment. 1 or 2 times more at the most. I'm getting some new microphones and whatnot. Other than that, Squitty@demondemon.com, signing off.